people, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing it a little bit more than the car. I'm going to show you what I've done and then where we're going to go. And you know, I put this heater up on here. It's so much better up high than it was down low. It warms the garage so much better being up high blowing down than being down low blowing up. I don't know why, it just seems to work better there. It is really warm in here now, even though there's a hole in the ceiling. It's just turning off. I've just turned it off, so it's probably a bit loud for you. So, first things first, I've started to fill my little drawers up. So I am organising, a bit more organising and stuff, and tooling. And I've realised now I've got 16 tools for me milling machine. I've just had another one delivered. This has come from a subscriber, that's good, who donated it. So I've got another quick lock. So what I am looking for is a proper rack to put all these in. But we've got an issue with the milling machine. Now, I only just noticed it. And I was doing some milling on the Mini. And basically, as one of the tools, like this one, I plunged through, I thought, did that tool just drop? As in, this came down, and if you can see, it could be a bit tricky for you to see. Yeah, let me zoom you in such. Watch around the seal. Look at that. It's actually lifting up and down. So this, right. So this needs stripping off. I need to figure out. I've looked. There's a bird called Calamity, and I've looked, and she bought the same mill. Now it's mad. I am, height-wise, this is probably the top of my head. Her head's up here. She makes this thing look like a kid's toy. But she's showing me, pretty much, you take this off, take this plate off, the gearbox is there, there's 4 bolts, you take the gearbox off, and then you can just remove this spindle. So this is something we're going to have to do on the channel. Whether I get it done at work or here, not sure, but we need to strip this off. Then behind here should be sealed, but I keep getting oil leak out of here because this is oil filled, and she said it needs to be like a grease. So I think the wrong stuff is in there. But what I want to do is, behind this panel is the holes for the original switches and a knob. I want to put these switches in there so it looks a bit more original. So this at the minute is glued on. So when we get this panel off, we'll be able to see what's behind there. So yeah, milling machine is down for the minute because they're taper bearings in there and I don't want to damage them. So yeah, I've been trying to tidy up in here. There's just so much mess everywhere. Let's have a drink of my brew. Right then, let me show you what we've been doing. So, you remember remember these things I've done? So these are all welded on. So I thought I'd show you these because we need to put the seat back in now. So I thought I'd show you these, why I put the slots that way. But then the slots on the seat rail go the opposite way. For this reason. So put the bolts in. Yeah. But this rail can go that way. You know what I mean? You can move around in a square now. So it's got quite a bit of alignment, adjustability to get in line with that one. So I've got to put the nuts on there, and we're going to throw the seat in. And come around the other side. I've got to go out in a minute, so I'll put that bar in. This is a bit tricky. I've still not quite finished, so I don't think that gap is going to stay there. It's not going to stay there. I'm just not finished getting that in right. But that is the bar that's going to join the spine to there. Then I made the pedal box ones look. So the pedal box is now sitting square. Pedals are a touch high, they're probably going to come down a little bit because we've got a lot of adjustment on the rods. So that's in square, true. And we've TIG welded some bosses in. Now my normal M8 bosses that I make up. That's when I noticed my milling machine was playing up, when I was milling them through, because they need to be square. So we need to get the seat in, yeah, because then we can position. Because at the minute, this is just, look how well that fits. Just slides along the tube, so we can actually get the pedal box in its position I like, yeah? Because I want to weld the pedal box in before this gets welded in. Because those bars I've made are a tight fit, yeah? But you may get some pull, yeah? So I want, if these are going to pull together, I don't want to put strain on this. So if that pulls together, it's only going to be a fraction, it'll move this bottom joint. Then I want to get that bottom joint welded in last. You know, put everything under as little amount of pressure as possible. And then I have made that bar like this. Yeah? Not straight, because I want to tie, because the only thing that holds the steering rack on is this fiberglass. Well, I want to tie the steering rack mount into that tube. Somehow we've got to come up with something from there to there, from there to there. I also may put a diagonal in here from that spine up to this corner. I don't know whether it's really needed, but NDAF puts X's in here. I've normally got an X in my other car. Does it really need it? Maybe not. But I think I'm going to put one in. Or I can come from this corner to where the pedal box meets. Yeah? Just something to give it a little bit more stability, bit of stiffness. So at the minute, yeah, that's about where I am. You are literally caught up. I did that bar, I'm not gonna lie, it took me a couple of attempts to get it right because I cocked it up. I had that joint too far that way, like coping right on the edge, and you couldn't get to the bottom to weld it, so I had to remake it. And I actually use this thing. I never use it, but it was the best way of getting the shape of the tube for the bottom. Right, I'm going to finish my coffee and I'm going to throw this seat in and then we'll move on to pedal box. Back in a minute. Right, seat is in. So, we're square, flat. So I'm going to get in. Now I think this steering column may need extending. So he is, can't zoom out more than that. I saw him at Silver, and he's a little bit, he's a bit taller than me. So, me doing this to my tiptoes has probably gained some well-needed space for our person that's a bit taller than me. So, we are comfortable. It's actually slightly reclined. It could come, the front could come down a touch, but one notch on the rail. Do you know what I mean? But I think the column is going to be a touch short. But we could just put, we could put a spacer on the back side of that to bring the column closer. Instead of extending the actual steel, just put a spacer in. So, yes, anyway, we digress. So, clutch. You want just enough room really for your foot to be off the clutch, but not too much of a step. I think these pedals are going to have to be about more there than there, like that and that. Yeah, because I've got them right up at the minute. Let's adjust them. Crack off the lock. Look. See? Yeah? Let's do the other one. because the other one's got 2. I have had to adjust this because it was all set up wrong. Obviously, screw one in, you screw the other one in. Try and keep them equal, but we will be setting these a bit better once the car is more of a completion. Yeah, that's that one, that's that one, that's that one. So this is what I don't like is these. Watch, that can't be all that's holding that on, just that O-ring. I mean, that ain't never right, is it? Unless there's supposed to be Jubilee clips around them. I don't know. But there's not a lot there. I would probably put fittings in there and run them into the engine bay and have the pots in the engine bay rather than the risk of that. But that there now, you've still got, I mean, I can't reach the floor without moving my ass. Yeah? So what we need to do now is we need to make sure that we are central. Now what I like to do is, imagine if you're sitting in a car and you're racing around, what pedal do you need to press the hardest? This one, yeah? So this is the pedal, that pedal can be anywhere. This pedal can be anywhere. This pedal needs to be, so your leg, so you want your accelerator pedal leaning, your leg needs to be fucking bosher. Nice, straight legged. So if we kick, yeah, that is the important pedal. That is the stop. That is, I'm gonna die. Get on that fucking pedal. So that's that one. Yeah. So clutch, brake, I think about there. Yeah. Sort of in line with whack. Jobs are good and you come into a stop. Hopefully. So I think that is quite nice. Yeah. So I'm going to go with there. So now we can tack weld those tubes in, because that is where I want the pedal box to be. Yeah. I know the column isn't quite central, which is a little bit annoying, but priority, I suppose. So yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tack them in. And once I've tacked them in, that if it's going to move, I can't see it moving because it's a pretty nice fit. Then that will be ideal then. Done. And we can finish fitting that. Basically, let me zoom in, see if I can see. You see this corner here? Here, this one. Just needs a little bit off. Like just this where that weld is, to get rid of some of that gap. That's what we need to do. But we are nice and straight up the spine, look. Right. My phone's just gone off, so I'll go see who that is. And I'll crack on. So, where were we? This is all welded in now. That's all welded in, square and done. This is all welded in. We have welded the feet onto the cage. So we now have welded feet. So these back two were a bit of a bugger, I'm not going to lie, but we got there. I've put the harness bar in for the 5 and 6, you know, the ones that get down your crutch. So that's welded in. I managed to get it all the way around, and I managed to finish that weld off as well. Bit of welding wire stuck under there. Oh! Ah! Bit of welding wire stuck under there. I'm going to get that off now, sorry. Here we go. Whoo! That was sharp. So, what we've done now is we have started on the back section. So, at the minute, we've just got that bar, and the crossbar. And I've eyed the tank up. So, we've got nice fits to there. Nice cushy fits to there. Do you know what I mean? So this will all get fully welded in probably tomorrow, because I'm not going to do much more today. So I've oiled the tank up. So there was already a hole in the floor there, because this tank has got a sump on the bottom of it. And I can't get through the freaking hole there, obviously. So to put that there, just chuck that in. You see these tabs? Look how nice they sit against that tube. So what I'll do is, you know those things, these, yeah, basically we're going to make 2 of those that hang down here, yeah, and they will go, I'm not sure actually, because that hasn't cut out yet. I might have to put this back outside and finish cutting that floor out. You see, I want to get it all to that level. So, because it's on the piss at the minute, it's like that, because that's high. But ideally, I wanted Les, because Les is going to cut all this out to fix it. I think what I'll do is I'll make them a bit long. Make them a bit long and just clamp them on for now. I could lift that. I could raise the tank a little bit, but now you can just cut all this out then and build the floor to the correct height for the tank. Maybe. Maybe. Anyway, let's get inside. I'll show you what I've got planned. Just none of these bars fit. Everything's needing to be modified. So this is why I end up puts in. It goes like there somewhere, because they go to the top of the wheel arch, don't they? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this notch, because this notch is nice, yeah, and I'm going to re-notch that end, so it'll have that bar in there, like so. So we can reutilise that bar, so we can do that both sides. Then we need to make the bars for in the back here, and then it's got to have the X in the main hoop. This thing is so small. So yeah, we've got those 2 to do, the A-frame in the back, and then the X, and the last ones are these here. Yeah, I'm not going to put the one in from there to there just for headspace and clearance. It's not going to need it, do you know what I mean? It's not a race car, it's just a toy. Oh God, I've got to get back out. God, I tell you what, this thing is, being a minus, it's that 3 inches shorter. You don't half notice it when you're climbing in and out. Whew. But yeah, it should fly along now. The hardest part was, as I said, getting it square, getting it true, and sorting out subframe. Cage-wise, there's probably, there's a few hours left in it, but tomorrow I'll come in and I'll make the A that goes in the back, and then once that's tacked in, all that back can get welded out then. Oh, and those bars, obviously, the little ones. All the back can get welded out. Then we can put the X in. And we're nearly there then. Just this. Well, I say we're nearly there. We're nearly there cage-wise. We've then got to fit his handbrake, design and build a gear lever for it. Just loads of bits and bobs for this car. I've got a box of stuff over there. We've got to fit the eyes for the harnesses. Yeah, loads of shit. But yeah, anyway, that'll do for today. I've had enough. I'm dirty. And that's it. Sorry it's been a while, but I'm just busy. But this thing needs to move into my storage so I can get my car in here to sort my car out and then bring this back. Right then, catch you next one, people. See you later.